Okay, so Lucas is actually going to start a mentorship with me soon, actually. And yeah, it'd be cool to do a quick review of his portfolio. So he's mostly done illustration stuff, but he wants to go into VFX. The problem is on his website, he has nothing to do with topology, which is one of the main things I'm actually going to bring up. But I just it's mostly about more of his choice of portfolio and presentation. So the first thing that kind of pops out to me when I first opened his website is it's just like a shotgun blast of like work. And it's just like, to me, I feel something like this is so like overwhelming to just be like, okay, what do I look at? There's like 1,000 things to look at. Like, I think his work is all really, really good. Like, I think he has a good eye, especially for like, presentation and stuff like that. It's just like, as I said, like when you open this, it's just like so much in your face, and it's just like, it's a bit too much. So I feel like that's one thing we're definitely going to deal with, is how to present a portfolio to get into VFX. So right off the bat, I think his work itself, his modeling, I'm sure looks really good. And like his presentation looks cool. He knows how to really like make a cool image. But like I said, he comes from like I think a more illustration background where only making a cool image is what's important. Where for us, if you want to go into VFX, what's important for VFX is like the proper, VFX breakdown, right? The first thing I would probably do is I would not show all of this stuff like immediately in your face. Great work, too much great work actually. Yeah, this is kind of my problem. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much cool shit to look at. What do I look at? There's just too much. At the very least, condense it down to like you open the page and you have like, maybe you have a portfolio piece of like, like a tab of, the Batmobile, not Batmobile, but the Batman vehicles and stuff like that. And then maybe you have a tab of like the lightsabers and stuff like that. So you open it up to only like a few images, and then you can click onto each and then go in and see the work. This sort of shotgun approach of just lots of stuff is just, to me, it's just too much. Like, it's not organized, it's not clean. Like, for example, why is there different pictures of the same camera just all over the place? It would be much nicer to like open a project of the camera and then see all these nice images within it. So that's obviously the main thing we definitely need to sort out. Because he wants to go into VFX. So I feel like if he wants to go into VFX, we should start tailoring the portfolio to a VFX portfolio, right? I don't think this sort of stuff like photogrammetry and scans really matters. I probably would get rid of this. I don't see there's a point of having this. Yeah, the fact that I can't really like, there's no good, nice close-ups of this stuff I can kind of zoom into, which is not the best. It reads more like an Instagram page than a portfolio. That's the impression I get. The portfolio itself I don't feels very professional, I guess is how I put it. Yeah, I guess the way I would do it is like he literally has like a main image like this. What I would like to do is I would like to have like a main image like this. I click on this and then it goes into a page of just high-res images of this sort of stuff, right? And then also on the main page, you could have this one. Click on this, and then it comes into a nice separate page of just high-res images of these, right? Yeah, I think maybe just having an art station itself could just be simple enough. Because I think the modeling itself is all quite good. This is like one of the reasons why I agreed to do mentorship with him. I think he can do good work. It's just more tailoring it to a VFX direction. But yeah, like the R2-D2 looks really cool to me. I would like to see much more about this work, but there's just nothing I can look at. There's no breakdown. There isn't like multiple views of this image. It's definitely lacking the breakdown aspect of a portfolio. But yeah, he has some quite complex modeling. It just would be like really nice to see what it looks like. You can obviously tell it comes from more of like an illustration sort of background though. So, it makes sense. But I feel like, yeah, if he wants to go into VFX, we need to like course correct and move more towards what is expected from a VFX portfolio. Is that mandatory to include wireframes and topology? For a modeler, hell yeah. That's literally our job. To me, that's the most important thing. If someone applied to me or applied to a studio and they have like a really nice render of this car, but I can't see what the topology looks like, it would be impossible to hire this person as a modeler because I don't know if they can model for the production pipeline. Like if you were in like maybe a lighting or look dev, like yeah, maybe you're a look dev artist or something like that, then maybe. But you still have to show your work process. You have to show production asset, right? And I feel like this is the most important thing for working in production. Like we aren't just making pretty renders, we're making production assets. But yeah, once again, Amit's portfolio is making an appearance. But like say for example, you look at this, it not only is a nice render, but you know, we can scroll down and we can see like, oh, this is actually like a production ready asset. It's good to go. We can take this and we can put this into our pipeline. And I feel this is the main thing he's definitely lacking with his portfolio, is he needs the breakdown. To me, the breakdown is more important than the pretty render. Like, you know, seeing like, you know, good topology, seeing clean UVs, all these sorts of things, to me as a modeler is way more important than this render. This is cool. This, like the nice render is cool for catching your eye. But if you want to be a modeler, you know, we got to see this stuff. This to me is like, okay, this is a production ready asset ready for the pipeline. This to me is what's important. And he's just kind of missing that with his portfolio. But, you know, we're doing a mentorship. I'll obviously push all this stuff heavily for him. See Amit's work as I see my parents every Sunday. Fuck, that's funny. But yeah, like I said, like I think his modeling is really good. I can't see what the topology looks like, but he has like an eye for detail, right? But it's just with this sort of stuff, we just need to know what the topology looks like, or it would be physically impossible to hire someone like this just because we don't know what the topology looks like. We don't know if they will fit into the production pipeline. And that's the most important thing, right? Like say, for example, imagine we hired him and he does this amazing vehicle. They turn up to work and then they start using Fusion 360 to do CAD models. Then it's like, we can't use this. Like, one thing I'd also kind of want to bring up as well is he did kind of suggest doing, one of the portfolio pieces he mentioned was from Expanse. And to me, like looking at all this sort of IP, like Star Wars and Batman stuff, sort of stuff, I think it can be kind of dangerous. Not dangerous, but I don't think it's a good idea to necessarily fill your folio with only fan art of existing IPs. So I did review another portfolio where the guy was doing just only Dune art. And to me, that's concerning. Just because, like say for example, imagine someone filled their portfolio with only fan art and then like Dune, for example, and then they get hired for a job and they have to make a helicopter. It's not a cool, fancy ornithopter like Dune, right? They're now building a real world thing. And it's kind of like, we don't know if this person will be happy with doing something that's not some cool sci-fi stuff. Does that make sense? But yeah, like I said, I think his modeling is all good. Like all this sort of stuff is very cool. We just need to see the breakdown. We need to know what the topology looks like, or we just, unfortunately, we just can't hire. Not that there's anything wrong with the work. It's just we need to know what the... I think stuff like this doesn't really have a place in the portfolio. It's like me putting the snail in. If it's not a good sculpted organic thing, I don't think there's really a point of it. It's much better just to have your nice hero vehicles or your hero asset instead. I'm also not a fan of like this sort of presentation of having multiple images on one image. It's much better just to have like a full list of high-res images. There's no need to condense 4 images onto one like this. But yeah, as you can see, like this guy knows how to model. His attention to detail is definitely great. We just need to make sure it's production ready detail. How many models is enough for portfolio? Honestly, even one is good enough. If you have one kick-ass portfolio piece, you can get a job with that. It's much better to have one amazing portfolio piece than it is to have like 10 average portfolio pieces. Oh, maybe we won't go down that path. Okay, so he seems to have a lot of other things as well in his site. I think it might not be good to have this sort of stuff. Maybe the way he could do this is maybe have just a separate art station, which is just your VFX work. And then if people want to find more about you, then they can come to this website and they can go down the other things. But yeah, I think a lot of this, that's actually pretty crazy actually. This is the thing, right? Like I see this picture and I see how ornate this is. I'm just like, damn, I want to just zoom in and really appreciate this work. But I can't because there's just one picture of it. Yeah, man, I feel you have so much good work. You need to like really show this stuff off. Didn't know illustrators have such modeling skills. Yeah, I mean, like, for example, not all 3D needs to care about topology and stuff, right? If he needs to just do like a nice render for a book of like a plane, there's no need to really have the topology and stuff in it. But yeah, there isn't really too much to talk about with this portfolio. It's more about not so much the work itself, which is the problem. It's more just the presentation and stuff like that. I think it's always important to keep your portfolio very clean and concise, to the point, and just really not overburden it with just so much imagery at once. I feel you can still probably keep a lot of this stuff, but it should, like I said, be behind a tab which leads you to another page of this. You just don't want to bombard everything at once. And a lot of this sort of stuff, it's all very similar. It probably doesn't really all need to be here, actually. But yeah, like I said, overall, his work is good. Like, I can tell he has a good eye. It's, yeah, like I said, it's just about presenting it into a way that is going to get you a VFX job. And unfortunately, I don't feel you can get a VFX job with this sort of presentation, just because we're just missing the most important part for us. Like, when he sent me his portfolio originally, I didn't even know what he wanted to do. But after talking to him now, I know he wants to do VFX. But yeah, when I first saw the portfolio, I just was like, wait, what are you trying to do? There's just so much. But yeah, overall cool stuff. I'm looking forward to doing a mentorship with him. I think we can definitely push him down the right path of how to, you know, present his work and get a VFX job for sure.